Madam President, let me say that I agree with my colleague from Oklahoma who just talked about the impact of the federal supplement on unemployment that was passed here in this chamber and signed into law by the President. It's time to end it because the situation has changed dramatically, hasn't it? So back when the unemployment additional benefit from the federal government was put in place, we had people who couldn't go to work. Thanks to COVID, businesses were shut down, many by government edict. There were people who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. And therefore, this chamber stood up and said, okay, for those people, we ought to provide a federal supplement on top of the state unemployment insurance in order to make them whole, essentially. So initially it was $600, now it's $300. That's on top of the state unemployment. Now you have an exact opposite situation. You have all these jobs that are open. I just learned that in Oklahoma it's a record number. Guess what? It's a record number nationally as well. 8.1 million jobs are being offered right now. That's more jobs than we've ever had open in the United States of America, and it's happening right now. At the same time, you have people on unemployment insurance who are getting the additional $300 on top of the state benefit. In Ohio, the average is $360 plus 300, so $660 a week, plus the first $10,000 is not taxed. So if you're a truck driver making $40,000 a year, you're being taxed, but if you're on unemployment insurance, your first $10,000 of UI is not being taxed. How is that fair? Well, it creates an additional disincentive to go to work. So I'm not saying it's the only reason people aren't going back to work, but if you talk to the small business folks in your state, you will find it's one of the big reasons. I think it's the biggest one. Another one is that people are having a tough time finding child care. And I get that. Child care is expensive. Part of the solution to that, of course, is get the kids back to school. 54% of K through 8 schools are back in business, but the rest aren't. And schools being closed makes it really tough for parents to go back to work because one parent's got to be there to take care of the kids. That's true. And then finally, there is an issue of the skills gap, and I get that. The jobs that are available, some of them are skilled jobs. There are 720,000 manufacturing jobs in America open right now. And yet a lot of them do require a skill level that unfortunately our system of education and training has not prepared people for. This is why our young people need to be given more opportunities to get those industry-recognized certificates to become a welder or become a technician or become a coder in the IT world or become a truck driver, because we need those skills badly. But the biggest reason, again, that I'm hearing all over my state of Ohio is the fact that people are saying, you know what, I'm making what I can make on UI that is more than I can make it work. For 42% of Americans, on average, that's true. 42% are making more on UI. That's not even including the fact that the first $10,000 is tax-free. In Ohio, it's more than double the minimum wage is what people are making. So this is a problem right now, and we should face it. And by the way, it's in the interest of everybody to resolve this issue. It's in the interest of the small businesses that can't find people. Some of these businesses are literally shutting down. Jordy's, a restaurant in Columbus, Ohio, is closed. They literally closed because they can't find workers. Other restaurants all over the state of Ohio are going 5 days a week instead of 6 or 7 days a week, or cutting a shift because they can't find workers. So it's definitely helpful for those small businesses and for all businesses. But second, it's great for the taxpayer to not have to pay that extra $300 a week. It's billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars, even hundreds of billions of dollars if it's ended altogether, compared to what it would be under current law, where the $300 supplement goes until Labor Day, with 8.1 million jobs open right now. But finally, I would argue it's particularly good for workers to get back to work, to get back to their careers, to get back to the training they need to keep up with what's going on at work. This is not in anybody's interest to have folks not back in the workforce. We should all want people to be back at work, getting the fulfillment you get from work and the dignity and self-respect that comes from work, but getting a paycheck and getting health care insurance again and getting back into their 401k plans and, again, closing that resume gap so they're up to speed on the training. And I'll tell you what's happening, and this is what concerns me, and I think should concern every member of this chamber. Businesses are adjusting. You know what they're doing? They're not just shutting down. They're not just closed 2 days a week, not just cutting out a shift. Some of them are changing the way they operate in order to be more efficient. What does that mean? That means when you can't find workers, you turn to technology. You turn to automation. And it is happening. And I know there are members of this chamber who think that by giving more money to people, this is a very smart thing to do and it's helping everybody. It's not helping because those jobs are not going to be there in the future. There was a story in the Washington Post today about Huntington Bank shares. It's a bank in Columbus, Ohio. They're fielding literally dozens of calls from business owners who are trying to get financing to buy more equipment that will offset their loss in workers. In other words, more automation, more technology that they would not have otherwise gone to. But because they can't find any workers, they're using their money they would have paid workers to go to more technology. Those jobs are gone. And I know, again, some people maybe on my side of the aisle think that might be a good thing, a more efficient economy. I want people at work. I want companies to be hiring more people. A good friend of mine is a manufacturer. She's got about 200 people. She makes a great product, windows in Ohio, Southwest Ohio, Hamilton, Ohio. She's looking for 60 people right now, 60 people. She's offering a bonus, signing bonus of $1,000, offering other benefits. People aren't showing up. But when the $300 ends and when the additional $10,000 of unemployment insurance not being taxed ends, people will come back to work. The first state to decide, you know what, we're going to unilaterally just say we're not going to take the $300 was the state of Montana. My colleague from Montana told me recently he has a friend who's a hotel owner, and he was having a job fair every week, trying to get people to come in to apply for jobs. He was getting about one applicant per week. The week after, the governor said no more $600 or no more $300 benefit on unemployment insurance in addition to the state benefit, 60 people showed up. Now, that may be an extreme example, but I got to tell you, it's going to make a big difference. Let's help get this economy going again. We're turning the corner on COVID. We have a situation now where we can actually get started again, get the businesses reopened. I talked about the business owner in Columbus, Ohio, who was closed down. You know what his comment was? He said, I used the PPP program. That's the Paycheck Protection Program, which we all passed here. I got through COVID. We struggled, but we made it through COVID. We could make it through COVID, but now we can't make it because of our own government. Paying people more to work, more not to work on unemployment insurance than we can pay them to work. He feels like his own government has turned on him. That's not helping anybody. It's not helping the small businesses, certainly not helping the taxpayer, and not helping those individuals who are not getting back to work, back to their routines, back to the training, back to the 401k plan, back to their health care plan, and having the opportunity to achieve their American dream. I hope, Madam President, that we change our mind here and don't continue this until September 6th and decide instead, let's get people back to work. I'd also be for a $100 a week signing bonus if people were to go back to work. I think that would be a good use of funding. Let's say do that for 6 weeks. And at the same time, stop the $300 federal supplement. By doing that, those 8 million plus jobs that are available right now would start to get filled, and we could really get our economy back on track. I yield back my time.